Do you know why companies like Apple, Walt Disney, Bloomberg, Hewlett-Packard and Harley-Davidson started out in a garage? In this video you will learn what is a fixed cost and fixed cost per unit, why it is easier to start a business in an old garage than on the 20th floor of a modern office building in a big city. One of the most important financial categories is cost. Each company incurs some costs by paying salaries to employees, rent for premises, machine or vehicle, electricity, internet bills, etc. The level of costs incurred determines whether the company is profitable. If the revenues from sales are greater than costs incurred, then the company records a profit. Otherwise, when costs are greater than revenues, there is a loss. As you can see, profit or loss in an enterprise results from the scale of costs incurred and revenues obtained. Let's discuss the costs first. We distinguish between fixed, variable, and step costs. Fixed cost will be discussed in this video. Fixed costs are costs that a company incurs regardless of whether it produces something or not, or if it is only a broker and does not produce anything, regardless of whether it buys finished products for resale. Fixed costs do not depend on the production volume or purchased goods for resale. They are incurred even if the company does not produce anything. Examples of fixed costs include management costs, depreciation costs, administration fees, because the administration does not produce anything, insurance, for example, machine insurance, vehicle insurance or building insurance, and rent premises. Costs can be divided in various ways depending on chosen criteria. Costing is simply determining costs by using different methods. Quite often, the so-called unit cost is calculated. A unit should be understood as a unit of a product, service, or time in relations to which a cost can be ascertained or expressed. It can be, for example, a piece, a tone, 1 kilogram, 1 pound, a tablespoon, a glass, a bag, a liter, a gallon, a centimeter, an inch, 1 yard, a kilometer, room per day, 1 brick, or even 1,000 bricks can be called 1 unit. Since we already know what a unit is and what a fixed cost is, let's talk about fixed cost per unit of production. While fixed costs do not depend on the production volume, the higher the production, the smaller part of fixed cost should fall for each product. You see, the fixed cost per production unit decreases as production increases. Let me explain it with an example. Let's assume that the level of fixed cost is $100. A company can produce 10 100, 1000, and even 10,000 units of a given product. Regardless of whether it produces 10, 100, 1000 or 10,000 units, the fixed cost is the same at $100. However, if we calculate the part of fixed cost per one unit, the situation will be as follows. When the company produces 10 units, fixed cost for each of 10 units is $10. If the company produces 100 units, then the fixed cost for each of 100 units is $1. And when 1,000 units are produced, the fixed cost for each of the 1,000 units is 10 cents. If the company produces 10,000 units, the fixed cost for each unit is 1 cent, and so on. Such an observation leads to the conclusion that the higher the production is, the lower the fixed cost per production unit becomes. But what does that actually mean? In practice, this means that as production increases, it is easier to cover the fixed cost. Why? Because it is much easier to cover the same fixed cost of $100 by selling 10,000 units than by selling only 10 of them. With 10,000 units, the fixed cost per unit is only 1 cent. And with 10 units, it is $10. Looking at the fixed cost per unit of production, it can be concluded that the more units a company produces, the lower fixed cost per unit will be, although the level of fixed cost will not change. It can be also concluded that the higher fixed cost is, the more for each unit produced it will be. Therefore, along with increasing fixed cost, the price of the product sold by the company will have to rise. For this reason, many companies start their activities in the garage, precisely to reduce the level of fixed cost.